What's going on, team? Welcome back to another video. So in this episode we've got something a little bit different, extremely interesting. So at the moment we're here on the west coast, we're at the Brunner Mine Industrial site. Now this site here holds a bit of a dark past. This site here was actually New Zealand's worst industrial accident, where unfortunately 65 miners lost their lives. So over across the bridge, you might be able to see in the distance, this is the old mining site. So we've this walk here over on the coast allows you to go and walk around the old buildings, go and see what used to be here, as well as read all the information that we found out about all the miners. So it's an absolutely fascinating walk. We've never been here before. We've done a bit of reading before we arrived here, and the history is absolutely fascinating. It's very sad, extremely dark. But yeah, we're basically going to take ourselves across that bridge over to the mining site, fully explore it all and see what's over there. So we'll take you guys with us. Let's go. Only after a couple of minutes up at the where we were just talking up at the top there by that chimney, we've walked down a couple of minutes down this track through the bush. We've now arrived at the beginning, just crossed the railway line, about to cross the big bridge, as you just seen us climbing over one of the old coal carts. So it's really cool throughout this how they've still got a lot of the old vintage stuff, done it all up so it looks nice and clean. But it is, we saw a sign that said that it was an original, which is quite cool. Obviously all the tracks, so we're going to get fully immersed and just tell you a bit of a history about the place, and yeah, show you what it is.
Right, so I did a bit of research before we came, and this bridge was actually built because this area was the largest coal mine producer in New Zealand, and so they actually had to build the bridge to link the coal mines to the railway tracks. In 1876 the bridge actually collapsed, and it took the miners, 20 miners, 8 months to rebuild the bridge, and in the meantime they had to use a wire rope and cage to get the coal over from that side of the river all the way to here.
Pretty crazy.
Amazing.
These days obviously it's all just in ruins, it's all just the foundations left from the buildings, but this place here used to be absolutely pumping on both sides of the river. It was a full community. This place is amazing. Just walking across the bridge, we're still here and we've been on it for a couple of minutes now. There's so much to see. So even so looking over here, you can see down here an old ventilation pipe, which is quite cool. All these rocks are brilliant. There's actually like a cave system here. You've got a slab of rock that goes over the top and creates this little cave. It's absolutely amazing. Little waterfalls there, which I don't know if you can see, but really beautiful place. Still just crossing the bridge. The bridge is 90 meters long, so it is quite a long bridge. So we've just crossed over the bridge. Off to the right hand side you'll see a mass of different ruins and buildings and old monuments. Off to the left hand side you'll see the Brunner Mine Information Centre. The walk begins here, so you go through, get a grips of all the information, and then go down off to the left where the Brunner walk begins. It then takes you up and around, takes you all back through all these sites, finish back at the bridge. This here is where all the information is on the walls. It's a wee little like classroom with all the history all over the walls. So we're going to stop and have a good read of all that, see what's what before exploring more. It's incredible. Part of this information centre, you can see the old bricks they used to make here with the embroidering of Brunner on them. So it's absolutely beautiful. And also on the floor there's a wee strip that goes through the information centre. It's got pieces of coal in it, so it's obviously very symbolic to this area, which is amazing. You get a really good understanding by looking at all these signs about who made up the miners. So this picture here is a group of miners about to start their shift circa 1887. And as you can see, what the population was during the 1800s, 88% of it was from the UK. So it's quite impressive, eh?
Barge the coal down the river, so they used to send it from here 13 kilometres down to the Greymouth port. And then when this became massive and nearby mines opened, they decided there needed to be more efficient transportation, and that's when they actually built the railway, and hence why they built the bridge.
So this is the exact location because it was a nice big wide opening, and between the years of 1864 and 1876 they actually took 130,000 tons of coal from this area down to Greymouth. So it was a very, very efficient system. They took approximately 20 odd barges down a day. So yeah, so it was a serious operation in this area, right? When we were walking across the bridge, we noticed that just around the corner there seemed to be like a hole that was all boarded up, and we thought that was a shaft. So we've actually come here, looked at this sign, and lo and behold, it was actually the early mine entrance. So we'll actually we'll make our way down here on this low bit and see if we can get a sighting of it. Yeah. Oh,
Jesus. Thank you.
This rock face here that you walk down is hella slippy.
To go down now.
Loz just slipped like this, grabbed her with one hand and stopped her from taking me out. If you come down here, it is very slippy, so please be careful.
My shoes must be really slippery. You're going to get me falling over, aren't you? Oh, you smell that?
Not yet.
I can
Oh
smell
yeah.
sulphur. I can
Oh
smell
yeah, it's from here. Okay, so this is one thing that we read up on, and we were actually quite amazed with it. So if you actually come to this mine, there's still a lot of shafts that have been boarded up but still relatively open, like the one we're about to show you. You can smell the gases still to this day. We're here, and if for anyone who's been to the Hamner hot pools, that smell of egg, that sulphur, when you come close to these mine shaft openings, the smell is extremely potent. You're good?
Yeah. But I can't see very far. Oh, quite
So I've just checked out this cave entrance here. Lauren noticed that one just off to the side, so we're going to go inside and just have a look and see where it leads.
really nice.
It's what? What's actually inside it? It's pretty eerie in here. All this shining away. We went in the cave. Dirty as hell. Found lots of coal though.
Yeah.
All on the walls.
I've got some in my pocket.
All made of coal. That's epic.
Yeah, it's even got the shine to it.
Oh,
Awesome.
good.
Yeah.
Right, so now we've been in the cave. We're going to make our way around, keep following this track along, exploring, and see what more we come up with. Let's go.
Stop. Oh my god. Thank you. Oh my god.
Jesus Christ. So after we just explored that cave, we just walked literally around in a loop, and we've come up to the top now. So we're at a big viewing platform at the top over by this monument. There's a big sign here that shows you exactly where we are. So yet again, nice and simple, we're here. We're looking over the entire site. Makes a lot of sense now. It's just this loop track that goes around, looking at all these different monuments, back to the bridge, and you're done. Now we're at the top of the site, it's probably a good time to actually talk about what happened here. So the reason why this site is actually here, and there's memorials everywhere. So basically, taking you back to the 26th of March 1896. This here was a fully fledged site. It was the biggest coal producing plant in the whole of New Zealand, making the top quality coal. At approximately 9:30 in the morning, there was a mass explosion in the main shaft of the mine, which inevitably killed 65 people. There was a massive big explosion inside, noxious gas killing everyone instantly. Everything and everyone below ground level died instantly, and that's why this mine is here today in the memorial side of things.
So on the morning of the accident, obviously they used what they called pit ponies down in the pits, so they were essentially horses that you took down there. On the morning of the explosion, they tried to lead these ponies into the pit 3 times. Every time they got close to the mine entrance, the ponies would kick, rear up, race back to the stables. Eventually they got them into the mine, but to do so they had to actually blindfold the ponies and lead them in backwards. So after the explosion, obviously people thought about why they were acting that way. And yeah, obviously I'm assuming the horses could probably sense something wasn't right, or could smell the gases that were obviously building up inside the mine. So that's pretty crazy.
So this mine was full of some of the most experienced miners of the time, because this was the #1 producing plant in the whole country. The miners were of a very professional standard, so knew what they were talking about. So the actual controversy which was going on between the two parties was the workers and the union said poor, inadequate ventilation caused the accident, spark, ignited the gases that were formed, bang, explosion. The government level said that it was down to, what was it? It was down to
the workers'
negligence.
Yeah.
So just not doing his job properly. So that shift of blame game, which obviously the whole country didn't agree with at the time. So from the 65 workers that were that died, 33 of those guys unfortunately were so badly burnt, blown to bits, couldn't identify them as individuals. So they were buried in a mass grave about 4 minutes down here in a town called Stillwater. So we're going to go and visit that site after we finish here, because they've got a big giant mass grave that those 33 individuals were placed in. But this here commemorates those 65 individuals that lost their lives. The other remaining men were in good enough condition. They were further by the entrance. They were in enough condition to be identified, so they had their own private burials. So we're going to continue going down, because according to the map, there's the site entrance and the ventilation. So we're going to keep going down, see what there is to see there.
Actually, all the people that were killed in the mine on the day, and all the jobs that they had, and what sort of part of the mine they were in. So obviously like the manager, deputy manager, pony driver.
Wow. It's pretty crazy, yeah. Oh, so we're just looking now, we've just come around the corner, and there's a photo of some of the rescuers.
Interesting thing about the rescuers I read before we came. So they went straight down into the mine to try and recover any people from down there. And quite often they would collapse down in the mine themselves as a result of the gases, and would have to have more rescuers go down and bring them up because they were unconscious. So that's how bad the gases were down there.
Wow. And you can kind of somewhat smell it here.
Yeah. Oh my God, look at that. That's incredible.
So we've just arrived just around the corner from the memorial. We've actually arrived at the entrance of the mine shaft. So looking further up, it has all been blocked off. It looks like some pretty sturdy stuff down there. But this here is the site where that tragic event occurred. This here, it blew out all of this. So there was a massive fireball, blew out, killing those 65 people instantly. One of the eeriest things about this area is there is wind blowing through it, and it still smells.
You can smell like it's like a burning building smell.
It's so bizarre. As we said, this happened on the 26th of March 1896, and it still smells of burning. And the fact that it was in there where 65 people died straight away was really, really sad, eh? And it is so eerie, so eerie that you can still smell it. It's a clear ventilation shaft, blows through so you can actually feel the air coming, and it still smells. Super weird.
You pushed me down there.
Jesus. I wonder what this is, eh? So now we're standing at the top, you get a really good idea about what all these things are. So obviously this here is the brick mill. They used to make all the bricks for the sites. This building over here, which obviously since this was up, they've built this structure around it probably to protect it. Inside there is all those beehive kilns. Obviously you see the river where they used to transport the barges down, going all the way around. The bridge, the information centre down there. So it's a beautiful wee area, but obviously as the photo showed in the very beginning, this entire area was packed full of buildings as well as the other side. And all up here, which now you can see all this forest, all of this area was completely stripped of all the forest, obviously to build the wooden structures and also to keep the fires lit as well. So yeah, this entire place has changed an astronomical amount, but the fact that there's still remnants of all this still here is absolutely fascinating. Even on the ground, just all the moss that's grown over them, but all the bricks just still lying on the floor.
Rose.
So we've now just come around the corner from the mine entrance, and we're now sitting here overlooking the brick mills where they used to make all the bricks. So a really interesting fact here about in Brunner, they've obviously produced the best coal. So the most pure quality coal is found here in Brunner. Burns the hottest, it's the best in the country. But not only that, underneath that coal layer, there's a property called fire clay, and it's that special clay that makes bricks that are able to withstand the temperatures inside kilns. So here made the best fire clay in the entire country as well. So they shipped this alongside with the coal all over the country for the various different industries that need it, even the home fires that needed the stone bricks, the fire bricks, all came here from Brunner. So it was an absolutely pumping area, making a bucket load of money, all because of the minerals that are around this area.
Sydney, Melbourne and New Zealand international exhibitions called Brunner Coal, furnace bricks and fire tiles of any design made to order at shortest possible notice.
Wow.
It's like an advert in a newspaper, I'm assuming.
1884.
In 1884.
Jesus.
Because it took 4 days after the bricks were taken to the council firing. Then they were stacked outside waiting for transport.
Wow.
Really interesting.
So here's a picture of all the bricks being stacked up before transport. What it looked like back in the day. So as I mentioned before about the forest, so all of this here which has been taken down, which is all the west coast behind us here, all been chopped down.
They're an international significance because there are few other examples existing worldwide.
So just walking further down, we've now got to the coke furnaces. So these ones here, the beehive furnaces, there's 25 here on this site. Some are in better condition than others. I'm standing behind one of the better looking ones so you get an idea. So basically they used to take the coal, chuck them in these furnaces, heat it up, and the coke process basically just takes all the water and the volatile gases out of the coal, combining it to make about 90% pure carbon, making it the really good, strong quality coal that you get here over on the west coast. It was in demand all over the country. It burns really intensely, which is obviously what they needed during that industrial age to provide heating for their houses, all the industrial work, transport, you name it. So yeah, standing by one of the old beehive furnaces now. It's quite amazing to see them up still. Yet again, the west coast does not disappoint with its rocks. We've just come up to a whole pile on the floor of these really amazing looking rocks with all shells in them and
She got
shells.
like plants growing out of them. Oh.
That's epic.
It's so weird.
It's like a random spot. We're just still right next to the beehive kilns, just following the track around, and this pile of rocks is just sitting right here. They're amazing. Underneath the kilns.
Just want to go in there. So these holes, from what I read on the other side, was how they loaded it in. So they came from the mine shaft down here with their big buckets and trays, loaded it in, pushed it in, and someone from the other side would rake it so it would flat and it would essentially bake evenly.
Wow.
Which is real cool. Yeah, see? That's where they would cook it.
Wow. Inside the kiln. There is literally just stuff everywhere. Just mounds of bricks and old pieces of the building. And so this here behind us is the Brickworks. So pretty self-explanatory. They made all the bricks for all the buildings. And as you can see, some of the foundations are all still up. They've blocked it all off to stop you walking across it. But yeah, some of the foundations are still here on some of the rooms. You can see over the far side. Amazing stuff just looking at it, and plus being here on the west coast as well, everything's covered in a layer of moss, so it looks really enchanted. So it's a really cool place. We've got here on a day where there's lots of fog up in the mountains, so you can see it's just fog all the way around, so it just adds to it as well, which is awesome. The thing that's really important to note, as we were up at the top of the memorial, something I failed to tell you, because there was that conflict between the people and the powers that be in the government. A lot of the people, many people, didn't agree with the call that the government made. Because 65 miners died, at the time they left behind wives and kids and family members, so it was pretty substantial and horrific at the time. A lot of the locals, a lot of the people across the entire country banded together, put money together in support of the families. Now what was so amazing was at the time, money was very hard to accumulate. They managed to put together £32,000, which in today's money is 6.5 million. So as you can imagine, for those 65 people that died and their families, it was bittersweet, but at least there was something there, and showed the power of the people at the time, that they did not agree with what the government said, and they did actually help, which was pretty amazing.
And with the miners, they were actually supplied homes if they worked here in the mines. And when those 65 miners died, after the funerals, the owners of the mines actually said, well, actually, we need these homes for the new workers coming through. Your families are going to basically have to get out, which is
pretty
horrendous.
brutal, eh?
Like, so yeah, they're like Aaron just said, with the support of the community and the country, basically, they were able to raise that money to help those families
get new housing and
find new housing.
So yeah, it was the power of the people, which was really good to see. And yeah, so for anyone passing through on the west coast, just out through Arthur's Pass, as you pop out towards the west coast, you've got the little town of Brunner. We both recommend you coming down here, having a look. The actual walk itself, very, very simple, easy loop navigation. Everything seems to be numbered. There's these big cog things on the floor with numbers on them. Make your way around the site, look at all the different things, read all the signs. It is absolutely fascinating to see. We're gonna leave the site now, head over to Stillwater, where the mass grave is, so we can see that in person. And then yeah, end of the adventure for this video. So yeah, we'll jump back in the car, see you over at Stillwater. See you soon. So the 4-minute ride down the road, we've come to the little village area of Stillwater. This here is where the mass grave was. So we've come and visited it after doing a bit of research. We found the location. This here is the mass grave. So we're allowed to come into it because it's got information. Sacred to the memory of 65 miners who lost their lives.
Jay Roberts was the father who was actually working in the mine on the day it exploded with 3 of his sons, which are obviously the 3 underneath him. So yeah, 46, 22, 18 and 15. So literally like a whole family wiped out.
So obviously the one you've just seen then is the mass grave with the 33 people in it. Those guys unfortunately were so badly damaged that they couldn't identify them. However, now what we're seeing from walking around the cemetery is some of these tombstones, or probably quite a lot of them, are individuals who were named. So here, these ones here, reading it, obviously they're very, very weathered. But we picked out the dates, and it says who was killed in the Brunner Mine. So here we go again. Here's another one. James Scott, killed in the Brunner Mine, March 26, 1896, alongside his wife, who actually died the same year, same age. Scary stuff. Right, so we're all done here at Stillwater. Hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I know it's a little bit different, more of a history lesson, but yeah, yet again, it's not all just waterfalls and walks. So very interesting to get out and explore New Zealand and see a different side to it, learning all the history. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like always, if you like our videos, subscribe, like, share it amongst your friends, and if you're here in Brunner on your next trip, come and do it, come and have a visit.
Worth a visit.
Awesome. All right guys, see you on the next one.